I'm Carrie Klaus, the Commander of the Public Affairs Division. On behalf of the Sheriff and our department, I would like to welcome you to the Sheriff's Exceptional Service Awards for the 2024 year. A special thank you to the recipients, your family and friends for being here today. There are a few special guests I would like to acknowledge. Would you please stand and say hi? San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Jason Anderson. San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors, 3rd District Supervisor, Chair Don Rao. County of San Bernardino's CEO, Luther Snoke. And Sheriff's Employees Benefit Association President Grant Ward. And Vice President Alicia Rosa. Thank you all for joining us today and for your continuing support. I would now like to introduce our Sheriff, Shannon Dykes. Our Under Sheriff, Rick Bessinger. Our Assistant Sheriff, Sam Fisk. And the members of his executive staff. I would now like to invite to the stage Sheriff's Chaplain, Grumpy, and Chair Don Rao. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are able to, will you please stand for the invocation? And please remain standing after the invocation for the presentation of colors by the Sheriff's Honor Guard, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Chair Don Rao. Grumpy.
Good afternoon. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you today to honor these men and women that have gone above and beyond, Lord. We thank you for their dedication. We thank you for their perseverance in everything that they deal with. And Lord, in Luke 6:38, we read, "Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, and will be put in your bosom. For with the same measure that you use, it will be measured back to you." So Lord, as we honor these recipients today, I ask that your hand be upon them, Lord. We thank you for everybody in this room. We thank you for our department, and God bless America. At this time, we would like to have a moment of silence for Deputy Hector Cuevas, who tragically lost his life on Monday, protecting the people of this county of San Bernardino. Thank you.
Please join me in salute to the flag of the greatest nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the Sheriff's Exceptional Service Awards presented today are the Life Saving Award, which honors our department members whose actions directly resulted in the saving of a life. The Medal of Valor, to honor our department members who have distinguished themselves by their bravery, heroism, above and beyond normal expectations. And the Frank Bland Medal of Valor, which honors our department members who distinguish themselves by performing exceptional service in a duty of great responsibility or of critical importance to law enforcement. The Sheriff's Employees Benefit Association Vice President Alicia Rosa will assist with the Frank Bland Medal of Valor presentations. Folks, you are going to hear many heroic stories today. In addition to just enforcing laws, they fight fires, provide medical aid, conduct rescues, and save lives without hesitation. They display bravery, courage, and have unwavering compassion for those who are in need. Blessed are the peacemakers. And now, please welcome to the stage Sheriff Shannon Dykes and Under Sheriff Rick Bessinger.
Thank you, Carrie. Our department has a heavy heart today, as you heard from Grumpy earlier, in reference to the passing of Hector Cuevas Jr. So much so that we were actually considering maybe canceling this. Unfortunately, our department has been delivered many, many tragedies in really the last 5 to 10 years. And unfortunately, we've had to deal with these things many times. And where I always land when we're thinking about what we should do in these circumstances is what would the deputy sheriff that passed away in the line of duty want us to do? And after seeing the amazing things that we all just saw, I guarantee if Hector was standing on this stage right now, he'd want to make sure that those exceptional people that are receiving the awards today, that he'd want them honored along with the citizens that have done absolutely amazing things. So I'd again like to welcome you on behalf of Hector Cuevas Jr. and all of the recipients of today's awards, because all of them are truly exceptional, and I'm honored to be up here to give them the awards today. So thank you all for being here.
Receiving tonight's first Medal for Life Saving, Deputy David Bush. On the afternoon of October 21st, 2022, Deputy David Bush responded to a medical aid. The callers reported a delivery driver had collapsed. David arrived and found the man on the ground and unresponsive. He assessed the man's vitals and found he was not breathing and did not have a pulse. David immediately began CPR, and after several minutes, the man regained a heartbeat and began to breathe on his own. Medical aid arrived on scene and prepared the man to be airlifted to a local hospital where he made a full recovery. Medal for Life-Saving recipient, Deputy David Bush. Receiving the Medal for Life-Saving, Deputy Brett Patton. On the morning of December 8th, 2024, Deputy Brett Patton responded to a medical aid at a residence. The caller reported a man was not breathing and family members were attempting CPR. Brett arrived and found the man on the bedroom floor with family members attempting the life-saving measures. Brett took over and assessed the victim, who was pale and without a pulse. He initiated CPR, and after several minutes, the man began to breathe on his own. Brett monitored the victim until medical personnel arrived, and the man was transported to a local hospital and has since recovered. Medal for Life-Saving recipient, Deputy Brett Patton. Receiving the Medal for Life Saving, Deputy Wilbert Lara, who was unable to attend today, and Rialto Police Officer Joshua Colorado. On August 19, 2024, Deputy Wilbert Lara and Rialto Police Officer Joshua Colorado, who was previously a deputy sheriff, were assigned to the Corrections Division. During their evening shift, they observed an inmate suffering a medical emergency in a housing unit. They immediately responded and found him unresponsive. He was not breathing and did not have a pulse. Wilbert initiated CPR, and after several minutes, Joshua took over. Joshua continued CPR until the man began to breathe on his own. Correctional medical staff members arrived and continued to provide care. The man was transported to a local hospital and survived his medical emergency. Medal for Life-Saving recipient, Officer Joshua Colorado. Receiving the Medal for Life-Saving, Deputies Elias Hernandez, who was unable to attend, and Deputies Derek Emery. On October 25, 2022, Deputies Elias Hernandez and Derek Emery responded to a drowning involving a child. When Elias and Derek arrived, they found the 14-month-old victim lying motionless on the living room floor. The room was crowded with distraught family and neighbors. As deputies assessed the child, they saw he was pale and cold. They immediately began their life-saving measures while simultaneously trying to calm the people in the room. The deputies' efforts successfully purged water from the child, and he began to breathe on his own. The child was transported to a nearby hospital where he was admitted and continued to receive advanced medical treatment. He eventually recovered from his ordeal. Medal for Life-Saving recipient, Deputy Derek Emery. Receiving the Medal for Life-Saving, Deputies Brianna Fight and Anthony Fonzie. On the evening of June 19th, 2024, Deputies Brianna Fight and Anthony Fonzie responded to a call of a child not breathing. Brianna and Anthony were the first to arrive and found the child lying on a table unresponsive with his father standing over him. Brianna and Anthony immediately started CPR and reassured the parents they were there to help. As they continued CPR, they heard the child gurgling and attempted to clear his airway. Brianna and Anthony continued CPR until the fire department arrived and assumed the life-saving efforts. The child was transported to a local hospital where he continued to receive care, and due to the immediate actions of Brianna and Anthony, the child was stabilized and survived. Medal for Life-Saving recipients, Deputies Brianna Fight and Anthony Fonzie. Receiving the Medal for Life-Saving, Deputies Cristina De La Cruz and Maximino Casas. On the afternoon of January 27th, 2024, Deputies De La Cruz and Casas were dispatched to a suicidal subject on the edge of a flood control overpass. Cristina arrived first and saw the man sitting on the overpass's guardrail. He was despondent and appeared ready to jump. Cristina slowly approached and introduced herself. She engaged the man in conversation, but as the two spoke, the man sobbed and leaned further toward the edge, increasing his danger of falling. When Maximino arrived, he recognized the precarious situation. He approached out of the man's view and positioned himself to grab the man as Christina continued to engage him in conversation. Seeing the subject moving closer to the edge, Maximino swiftly pulled the man backward and onto the sidewalk, free from danger. While speaking with the man, the deputies learned his dog had recently died and he was feeling suicidal. Christina's empathy and Maximino's quick actions prevented the man from harming himself. Instead, he was taken to a medical facility for treatment and further assistance. Medal for Life-Saving recipients, Deputies Cristina de la Cruz and Maximino Casas. Receiving the Medal for Life-Saving, Deputy James Jones. On the morning of January 16, 2024, Deputy James Jones responded to a report of a suicidal female. The woman said she planned to jump from a freeway overpass. As James arrived, he found the woman sitting on the cement barrier of the overpass with her feet dangling over the freeway below. As James slowly approached, he recognized the woman from a previous suicide attempt. James tried to talk to her, but she was unresponsive. He noted her behavior and her movements indicated she was possibly under the influence. Recognizing the perilous nature of the situation, James quickly grabbed the female and pulled her from the ledge, bringing her back to safety. James's decisive and effective actions prevented her from taking her own life and resulted in her receiving the treatment she needed. Medal for Life-Saving recipient, Deputy James Jones. Receiving the Medal for Life-Saving, Deputies Nick Nunez and Syra Valencia. On the afternoon of July 25th, 2024, Field Training Officer Nick Nunez and his trainee, Deputy Syra Valencia, responded to a possible hit-and-run collision between a pickup truck and a golf cart. The suspect intentionally used his truck to repeatedly ram the golf cart while the victim was still in it. The suspect then fled, driving into the nearby community. Nick and Syra located the pickup truck and conducted a traffic stop. The suspect lit his vehicle on fire and drove for a short distance before he stopped. Despite the rapidly spreading fire, the suspect would not exit the vehicle. After several moments of the heat and smoke that eventually overwhelmed the suspect, and he exited the truck. The suspect escaped just as the truck became completely engulfed in flames. Nick quickly checked the pickup truck for other occupants, while Syra apprehended the suspect. Nick and Syra pulled the suspect away from the pickup truck as it exploded. Several other vehicles caught fire, and the fire had the potential to spread to nearby homes. Nick and Syra quickly alerted the unaware residents and coordinated their evacuations while they waited for the fire department to arrive. Medal for Life-Saving recipients, Deputies Nick Nunez and Syra Valencia. Receiving the Medal for Life Saving, Deputies Tanner Larson and Michael Solano. On the evening of November 17th, 2023, Deputies Tanner Larson and Michael Solano responded to a shooting. Tanner and Michael arrived and found a male on the ground suffering from a gunshot wound to his chest. They assessed the man who was bleeding profusely from multiple wounds. Utilizing their trauma kits, the deputies applied occlusive dressings and treated him for shock. The man was transported to a local hospital where he underwent emergency surgery and ultimately survived due to the immediate and effective medical attention he received from Tanner and Anthony. Medal for Life-Saving recipients, Deputies Tanner Larson and Michael Solano. Receiving the Medal for Life Saving, Deputies Jose Corrado and Mark Valencia. In the early morning hours of October 10th, 2024, deputies were dispatched to a stabbing. As the suspect was being detained by other deputies, Deputies Jose Corrado and Mark Valencia found the victim suffering from a serious stab wound to his chest. Mark and Jose worked together to provide the victim with life-saving treatment. They applied a chest seal and treated the victim for shock as they prepared him for the arrival of medical personnel. The victim was airlifted to a nearby trauma center for emergency surgery. According to the attending physicians, the victim would not have survived without the prompt and effective care provided by Jose and Mark. Medal for Life-Saving recipients, Deputies Jose Corrado and Mark Valencia. Receiving the Medal for Life-Saving, Deputies Mark Smoot and Dominic Rapizzardi. On the evening of February 26, 2024, Deputies Mark Smoot and Dominic Rapizzardi responded to a shooting. When the deputies arrived, they saw a male on the ground suffering from multiple gunshot wounds to his upper body. Mark and Dominic retrieved their medical kits from their patrol car and assessed the male's injuries and provided emergency life-saving care. The deputies applied a chest seal and multiple trauma pads, which successfully stopped the male from losing life-threatening amounts of blood. Medical personnel arrived and transported the male to a nearby hospital where he underwent surgery. Had it not been for the aid provided by the deputies, the male would not have survived his injuries. Medal for Life-Saving recipients, Deputies Mark Smoot and Dominic Rapizzardi. Receiving the Medal for Life-Saving, Deputies Stephanie Ortega and Omar Gomez. In the morning hours of September 23, 2024, Deputies Stephanie Ortega and Omar Gomez responded to a stabbing at a residence. When the deputies arrived, they found a 13-year-old with a life-threatening stab wound to his neck. The victim's mother stabbed him as he slept in his bed. The mother then stabbed herself in the chest and neck in an apparent murder-suicide attempt. After getting the victim to safety, Stephanie and Omar found the mother unresponsive and saw she had suffered substantial blood loss due to her wounds. Stephanie and Omar immediately rendered aid to the mother by packing the stab wounds and applying direct pressure to prevent additional blood loss, giving her the best chance of survival. The mother was transported to a local hospital where she received emergency medical care. Stephanie and Omar's actions were instrumental in saving the woman's life. Medal for Life-Saving recipients, Deputies Stephanie Ortega and Omar Gomez. Receiving the Medal for Life-Saving, Captain Ross Triangle, who was unable to attend today, Lieutenant Jacob Galt, Sergeants William Busto and Cole Reynolds, Corporal Brandon Abel, and Deputies Bryant Moore, Edward Almos, and Michelle Bush. On the afternoon of November 28, 2023, Deputies Moore, Almos, Bush responded to a single vehicle rollover collision in the desert outside of Needles. They arrived and found the vehicle overturned in a wash with a 15-year-old girl trapped underneath. The girl had sustained major injuries and she slipped in and out of consciousness. Hearing the radio broadcasts, Captain Tarangle, Lieutenant Galt, Sergeants Busto and Reynolds, and Corporal Abel responded to help. Abel knelt beside the girl and held her hand to provide comfort and reassurance while the others tried to lift the vehicle off of her. While they were not able to free her completely from the wreckage, they lifted the vehicle enough to relieve the pressure and weight that was bearing down on her. The team continued to lift and hold the vehicle up while the fire department responded. When they arrived, the fire department deployed airbags to lift the vehicle higher. However, as the vehicle began to rise, it suddenly shifted and rocked to its side. The team used their sheer force to push against the vehicle and prevent it from crushing the victim. While the deputies pushed against the vehicle, the fire department tended to the victim who was still under the wreckage. A heavy-duty tow truck driver quickly arrived and lifted the vehicle enough to free the victim. She was airlifted to a local hospital where she received emergency treatment and survived her injuries. Medal for Life-Saving recipients, Lieutenant Jacob Galt, Sergeants William Busto and Cole Reynolds, Corporal Brandon Abel, and Deputies Bryant Moore, Edward Almos, and Michelle Bush. Receiving the Medal of Valor, Deputies Rogelio Torres, Elise Hernandez, Oscar Ramos, and Nicholas Vaca. In the early morning hours of November 3rd, 2023, Deputies Torres, Hernandez, Ramos, and Vaca responded to a single vehicle traffic accident. When the deputies arrived, they saw a sedan was upside down and on fire. Nicholas noticed an arm protruding from the passenger side of the car and heard a female screaming for help. Nicholas broke the passenger side window only to find the female was partially ejected and pinned underneath the burning car. All the deputies tried to get the female out from under the vehicle, but could not free her from the wreckage. Rogelio, Elise, and Oscar retrieved the fire extinguishers from their patrol cars and returned to find the car fully engulfed. Using the extinguishers, they doused the female and the car around her, which momentarily subdued the flames. But despite these efforts, the fire continued to grow and again threatened the victim's life. Elise and Oscar stayed with the female to provide comfort and tried to shield her from the flames as Rogelio and Nicholas ran to nearby homes, taking their garden hoses. They linked the hoses together to create a line long enough to reach the car and sprayed the vehicle with water. As the deputies battled the flames, the fire department arrived and utilized the jaws of life to extract the female. She was transported to a nearby hospital with burns covering 35% of her body and also suffering from a broken neck. Although her injuries were severe, she survived due to the quick thinking of the deputies. Medal of Valor recipients, Deputies Rogelio Torres, Elise Hernandez, Oscar Ramos, and Nicholas Vaca. Receiving the Medal of Valor, Deputies Bryant Moore, Bradley Whitmer, Jeffrey Dean, David Moore, and Paul Kowalski. On the evening of May 28, 2024, deputies at the Colorado River Station were notified an armed and dangerous homicide suspect from Kingman, Arizona, was in the Needles area. Deputy Bradley Whitmer located the suspect vehicle and attempted a traffic stop, but the suspect fled, leading the deputies on a high-speed pursuit. Deputies Bryant Moore and Jeffrey Dean joined in the pursuit. During this pursuit, the suspect threw a smoke grenade out of his vehicle and fired a handgun at the pursuing deputies. Bryant, Bradley, and Jeffrey remained undeterred, setting aside their personal safety in an effort to apprehend this dangerous threat to public safety. The sheriff's helicopter arrived, piloted by Deputy Paul Kowalski and Flight Officer Deputy David Moore. As they watched from the air, they feared the suspect would further endanger the public and the deputies. David chose to disable the suspect's vehicle with gunfire from the helicopter. This was effective and the suspect pulled into the desert. However, instead of surrendering, the suspect aimed his rifle at the helicopter and opened fire. David returned fire, immobilizing the suspect. Paul and David remained overhead and provided cover for the deputies on the ground as they approached the suspect. Bryant, Bradley, and Jeffrey took the suspect into custody without further incident. The deputies discovered the suspect had additional firearms and body armor in his vehicle. He was booked into jail and charged with attempted murder of a peace officer and is pending extradition to Arizona on his original murder charges. Medal of Valor recipients, Deputies Bryant Moore, Bradley Whitmer, Jeffrey Dean, David Moore, and Paul Kowalski. Please welcome to the stage SEBA Vice President Alicia Rosa, who will assist with the presentation of the Frank Bland Medal of Valor Awards. Receiving the Frank Bland Medal of Valor, Deputy Jacob Delano. On the evening of November 1st, 2024, Deputy Delano was off duty and driving his personal vehicle on State Highway 138. As Jacob approached what he thought was a car fire, he realized he was the first to come across a head-on collision. Jacob stopped to render aid and found both vehicles with major damage. He ran to the first vehicle, which was already on fire. He saw the male driver was semi-conscious, and the female passenger appeared to have suffered multiple injuries, including severe facial trauma. Due to the vehicle's damage, Jacob was unable to open the front door. He climbed into the burning vehicle through the rear passenger door. He grabbed the female and moved her to the rear seat and then out through the rear door. An unknown motorist helped Jacob carry the female to safety away from the burning wreckage. Aside from setting aside his personal well-being, Jacob returned to the burning vehicle and removed the male driver through the rear passenger compartment and pulled him to safety as well. Unable to pause, Jacob switched his attention to the second vehicle, which was now also on fire. He located two unconscious males with serious injuries, still seated in the front seats. Jacob entered the rear passenger area and pulled each of the males from the burning vehicle through the rear doors. Just as he pulled the last man out, the vehicle became fully engulfed in flames. Jacob triaged the 4 injured victims and noticed the female was in respiratory distress due to the injuries to her face. Jacob removed the items blocking her airway, and she began to breathe freely again. Jacob continued to monitor the victims until medical personnel and the California Highway Patrol arrived. All 4 victims were transported to nearby hospitals and survived their injuries. Frank Bland Medal of Valor recipient, Deputy Jacob Delano. Receiving the Frank Bland Medal of Valor, Sergeant Shane Anderson. And receiving the Medal of Valor for life-saving, Deputies Jonathan Fung and Raymond Syfax. On the afternoon of December 1st, 2023, a 911 call was received from a gas station about a domestic violence incident. The caller reported a female locked herself in the bathroom to get away from her boyfriend. The boyfriend was holding her against her will and armed with a handgun. Sergeant Shane Anderson, along with several deputies, responded to the call. Shane was first to arrive and found the suspect outside of the gas station. As Shane attempted to detain the suspect, he ran inside the mini-mart that was full of customers. The suspect pulled a loaded handgun with an extended magazine from his waistband and opened fire at Shane. Shane fearlessly advanced towards the suspect, returning fire without hesitation, knowing he had to prevent the suspect from harming anyone else. Shane was struck multiple times by the suspect's gunfire, but with unwavering resolve, continued to return fire while taking cover outside the business. The suspect continued a relentless pace of fire at Shane, firing a dozen rounds through the front windows of the business. While maintaining cover, and despite the bullets striking him around him, Shane conducted a tactical magazine change. As Shane completed his magazine change, the suspect emerged from inside and was a mere feet away from him. The suspect immediately shot at Shane, and Shane returned fire, striking the suspect several times. Through his selfless courage and quick thinking, Shane decisively ended the threat, albeit at great personal risk. Shane was struck 5 times by the suspect's gunfire. After ensuring the threat was neutralized, Shane began rendering medical aid to himself while he calmly updated dispatch and directed responding personnel. As deputies arrived, they quickly delegated responsibilities, while others checked on the civilians and secured the suspect. Deputies Jonathan Fung and Raymond Syphex tended to Shane. They found Shane suffered multiple gunshot wounds to both legs and was losing a large amount of blood. Jonathan and Raymond applied tourniquets to both of Shane's legs and prepared him for immediate medical transport. Shane was airlifted to a local trauma center where he continued to receive life-saving medical treatment. Shane has since made a full recovery and is back to full duty. Receiving the Frank Bland Medal of Valor, Sergeant Shane Anderson. Receiving the Medal for Life Saving, Deputies Jonathan Fung and Raymond Syphex. Receiving the Frank Bland Medal of Valor, Deputy Gaetano Nicasio. And receiving the Medal of Valor, Sergeants Ian Golditch and Brian Failer. Corporals Aaron Griffin, Sean Byrne, Kenneth Boubier, and Christina Olivas, along with Deputies Travis Palazzola, Jim Musgrave, Ryan Hernandez, and Michael Whitney. In the early morning hours of September 21st, 2024, the Riverside County Sheriff's Office was in pursuit of a known gang member who was armed and threatened he would shoot it out with law enforcement. The pursuit entered San Bernardino County, and our deputies assisted. Eventually, the suspect crashed his vehicle and ran. As the suspect exited his car, he immediately fired a rifle at pursuing deputies and ran into the desert under the cover of darkness. The Specialized Enforcement Division responded to the area to locate and apprehend the suspect. Although the suspect initially fled into open desert, there were several homes in the area, and he posed a significant risk to the public. Without hesitation, and instead of citing the risk to their personal safety, SED personnel tracked the suspect for several miles through the open terrain. While the team conducted yard-to-yard searches, dispatch received a text to 911 that said the suspect was in their residence, armed with a rifle. The victim confirmed she and 4 friends were trapped inside the home with the suspect, and that they believed the suspect would kill them if they tried to leave. SED personnel deployed to the house and prepared for an emergency hostage rescue. 2 teams deployed, each taking one side of the home. As the teams approached, one of the hostages unexpectedly exited the residence through the rear sliding glass door and was rescued. The hostage verified the suspect's description and confirmed he was still in the home and had the rifle. Knowing the priority was the safety of the 4 additional hostages inside, Gaetano, Aaron, Sean, Travis, Kenneth, and Ian silently entered the rear door, followed by Jim, Christina, Ryan, Brian, and Michael. They found the suspect on the couch with his hands and upper body covered by a blanket and pillows. Believing the suspect was still armed, Gaetano jumped on the suspect using his body armor to shield his partners and hostages from potential gunfire as he worked to control the suspect's arms and ability to harm anyone else. While one team took the suspect into custody, the other quickly moved through the house to rescue the remaining hostages who had hidden themselves in the various rooms. Receiving the Frank Bland Medal of Valor, Deputy Gaetano Nicasio. Receiving the Medal of Valor, Sergeants Ian Golditch and Brian Phaler. Corporals Aaron Griffin, Sean Byrne, Kenneth Bouvier, and Christina Olivas. Deputies Travis Palazzola, Jim Musgrave, Ryan Hernandez, and Michael Whitney. Receiving our final awards of the evening, the Frank Bland Medal of Valor, Sergeant Nicholas Tollefson and Corporals Kenneth Bouvier and Joshua Jordan. Receiving the Medals of Valor, Sergeant Jared Bashir, Deputy Troy Verrill, and Special Agent Eric Rose. On November 25th, 2022, the Riverside Police Department contacted the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department and requested assistance regarding a triple homicide. The suspect had initiated an online relationship with a 15-year-old girl and deceived her by saying he was a 17-year-old boy when he was actually a 28-year-old man from Virginia. The suspect became angry with the victim after she ended their online relationship. He drove from Virginia to the victim's home in Riverside, where he murdered her mother and grandparents. He then set the home on fire and kidnapped the victim, fleeing in his car. The Riverside Police Department developed leads that indicated the suspect was in a remote desert area of San Bernardino County. Sheriff's Aviation located the suspect's vehicle and coordinated with the Specialized Enforcement Division. Sergeant Nicholas Tollefson, Corporal Kenneth Bouvier, and Deputy Joshua Jordan were the closest SED personnel and quickly responded. SED coordinated with aviation, and an additional helicopter flew Sergeant Jared Bashir, then Detective Eric Rose and Deputy Troy Verrill to the area. When the suspect noticed he was being followed, he began to shoot at Nicholas, Kenneth, and Joshua. Several of the rounds hit Kenneth's vehicle, and one round hit the windshield directly in front of where Nicholas sat. Knowing there was a hostage in the vehicle, they did not return fire, but continued to pursue. The suspect drove off the road and became stuck in the dirt under a train bridge. Nicholas, Kenneth, and Joshua stopped a short distance away and were joined by Jared, Eric, and Troy, who were dropped off by the helicopter. The helicopter crew provided updates from overhead and reported the suspect had exited the vehicle armed with a handgun. The suspect ran to the top of the train tracks to gain the high ground. Moments later, the victim exited the vehicle and ran towards the road. Nicholas, Kenneth, Joshua, and Troy provided cover for Jared and Eric, who ran toward the victim and shielded her from the suspect as they took her to safety to a nearby patrol car. The two returned to help confront the suspect, and the team maneuvered around to prevent his escape. The suspect took his own life rather than surrender. Receiving the Frank Bland Medal of Valor, Sergeant Nicholas Tollefson. Corporals Kenneth Boubier and Joshua Jordan. Receiving the Medal of Valor, Sergeant Jared Bashir, Troy Verrill, and Special Agent Eric Rose.
So other than that one great big deputy that stood about 12 feet over the top of me, does everybody feel taller today? Folks, I am so honored to work with these deputies and people that we honor today, day in and day out, and I get to see the amazing things we do. And you, our family and our friends that support us, please know that I know when you hear about the really amazing and heroic things that they do, there's also a gasp going, oh my God, what could have happened? We all swear to protect things that are much larger than us, and we swear to be a part of something that are much larger than we are as individuals. And it's that country and these things that we represent. And I'm so proud to be able to share their efforts and their good deeds in front of all their friends and family and all of us that support them. My commitment to all of you is to make sure that we always know who the real heroes are. I know you know that, and I know that, and together we will make sure they stay protected. But I want everybody to remember in this county, when we have things like these happen, and then the press releases go out, the citizens of San Bernardino County are so grateful for all of them and all of you. And please know that your sheriff is grateful. And I am honored to be able to serve with them. And my commitment to you again is I will do everything I can possibly do to make sure they're best equipped so that they can go out and do the amazing things that you saw today. For all of you that serve us and really put this department on the map, this is your day. I couldn't be more proud of you. And I know we started off this with a bit of a somber note from Hector, but I guarantee you Hector is in this room right now and he couldn't be more proud of you. And I just can't say enough. Thank you all for being you. Folks, have a wonderful day, and thank you.